His assistants Terry McDermott and Arthur Cox have taken charge on a temporary basis. And as the team arrived at Villa Park, so many questions are still left unanswered. Not least who takes over. Kenny Dalglish and former England manager Bobby Robson are strongly tipped. But for today, it's gaining 3 points against Aston Villa that will be uppermost in the minds of the players. Newcastle are by no means out of the race for a title that Keegan coveted so much. They're fourth in the table, 5 points behind the leaders Liverpool. Villa are just 2 points further back, and a win will take them above Newcastle. Ironically, in the week that Keegan has resigned, Brian Little has pledged his future to Aston Villa by agreeing a new 5-year contract. Match commentary comes from Martin Tyler.
Gareth Southgate returns after a 7-match injury absence. He's had a twisted ankle and he's needed in midfield along with Newcastle forward Tommy Johnson because both Mark Draper and Ian Taylor are hurt. 2 changes also for Newcastle. Rob Lee is suspended. Les Ferdinand has a damaged muscle behind his right knee, though he is named as a substitute. So in come Keith Gillespie and Robbie Elliott. Aspria and Ginola are both still injured. So life after Keegan begins for Newcastle here at Villa Park. A test of the players' concentration and this cry from the men in charge of the team today to go out and win it for the former manager as a mark of appreciation for all that Kevin Keegan did for Newcastle United. What he couldn't do, of course, was win a major trophy. And any shortfall so far in the league this season, despite the promising placing at the moment, has come largely as a result of an inability to win away from home. They've not had an away victory in League or Cup for 3 months now. Villa will go above Newcastle if they can beat them here today. Beresford's cross. Shearer. Clark! It's a good try. Certainly had Mark Bosnich plunging to his right, wondering whether it was going to be inside or outside that post. But beautifully set up by Shearer, well aware of Clark's positioning. And in fact, it took a touch. It was off Staunton, and it wasn't quite as well hit as it seemed. Off goes York. Hesitation from Hislop. Chance for Dwight York, and he hasn't taken it. Well, the Trinidad and Tobago connection here. York for Villa, Hislop in the Newcastle goal. And the goalkeeper decided he couldn't come, and it was the side netting that Dwight York hit. Batty. Here's York. Nimble of foot until impeded by Clark. Free kick taken quickly by Southgate. Here's Nelson. Milosevic and York waiting in the centre. Nelson didn't get very far. The breakout orchestrated by Beardsley. And the pass has got enough on it to get Shearer interested. He's held off Staunton. Alan Shearer goes on and scores under Bosnich. Well, whether it's for Kevin Keegan or for those fans, for the team or for the scorer himself, Newcastle United lead. Steve Staunton was shrugged aside. The goalkeeper might have done better, but Shearer showing again what £15 million was worth for this club. The goal coming in the 16th minute. It's his 18th of the season. Shearer hooking it on brilliantly for Beardsley, who takes on Staunton and gets past it. Bosnich able to mop it up. Beardsley, now Gillespie. Watson's cross over Shearer. Came off Nelson's head, I think. The goalkeeper comes to catch it, and Shearer trying to make that as difficult as he could. Now Bosnich slips. Clark! It's an extraordinary goal, but it counts for Newcastle. Bosnich is chasing the referee, claiming that he went to ground not under his own momentum, but Lee Clark saw the opportunity and seized it. Now watch what happens here. Is there a little tug by Shearer? Certainly Bosnich with a big slip, a major mishap, and Lee Clark took aim and hit the target. This is Townsend. York, easily past Albert. This is looking more encouraging for Villa with Milosevic. And Staunton, good stop, because there was a deflection in there that Hislop had to deal with. Maybe it took a little bit of pace off the ball, but it's still a long reach and a good reach too. But Villa have a corner. It's Johnson. Well, there was no outlet for Lee Clark then. Just bought his team a bit of time though. Arthur Cox, behind Terry McDermott, was Newcastle's manager in the early 80s and actually left at the time Kevin Keegan finished as a player. Shearer. Now Beresford. Shearer has a go for goal, and it was a very well-struck try. And Bosnich this time came up with the right sort of reply. Staunton's clearance, touched on by Milosevic. And trotting on the ball was Albert. York, and Peacock came across and probably thought he'd done enough within the laws of the game to stop York going past another central defender. But Graham Poll has pulled the play back and given Villa the free kick. Right. Oh, it must be. It is. Dwight York, 2-1. Aston Villa desperate to get back on track. And Dwight York, 3 goals against Newcastle up at St James's Park. That really got his season going. He hadn't scored at all until then. And he's been scoring very regularly since then. And here's the latest. Alan Wright, and the touch made it easier for York. The deflection on the cross off Peacock, I think it was. There, and York couldn't miss. This is Staunton. Oh, it's run for Johnson. It's a miss kick, it might have gone. Now Johnson goes down, and the Villa crowd roar for a penalty. Graham Poll is unmoved. Johnson had just gone for goal and mishit the ball across the penalty area. Backheel by York. Staunton pushed out. Goal from Milosevic. So it's 2-2 in the 7th minute of the second half, and Steve Staunton, who had to take his share of the blame of those early defensive deficiencies, pushed on to midfield by Brian Little with the half-time switch. Lovely play by York. Change of pace by Staunton. The shot Well, Hislop could only just reach it, and it was simplicity itself for Savo Milosevic. Peacock has played it strangely. Out comes Hislop. York will get there. Dwight York has put it wide. The type of defending that has got Newcastle United a bad name at the back. Peacock, what was he thinking of? Hislop wasn't going to repair the damage. He couldn't get there. But Newcastle got very lucky because York missed. It's a surprise when he misses the Newcastle net, Dwight York. Beardsley's covering the ground there to try and close down Southgate, but the pass is a useful one. And what about the tackle by Albert? It's a penalty. Savo Milosevic was homing in, and Albert adjudged to have fouled him there. He will claim that he got a piece of the ball. Graham Poll thought otherwise. And a chance now to prove that the tide really has totally turned in favour of Aston Villa, because Dwight York has the ball on the penalty spot. And they've wasted the chance to go 3-2 in front. Hislop saves York's penalty. And it stays at 2-2. Straight run up, little shimmy of the hip, but Hislop went the right way, and it didn't come far enough off the goalkeeper. It was a double save. Terrific work from Hislop. Corner for Villa. Brought out at pace by Gillespie. It's beautifully controlled by Clark. Beardsley. Now Gillespie. Tries for goal himself, and it was a bright idea. But Bosnich wasn't caught out this time. Well, the goalkeeper will feel slightly happier with life in that he's made a save there. Villa have pulled back the 2-goal deficit, but they've left Batty again here, not for the first time, and Bosnich beats out a stinging shot on the turn from Peacock, and the ball breaks Villa's way. Can they make the match turn their way? Well, there's a slip by Milosevic, but a chase on from right. Is it a vain one? It is. Just needed a little bit more poise in their passing then, but the goalkeeper standing up to his task in the second half, because Batty left unmarked in that position from the corner, and it was a stinging drive from Peacock. Bosnich didn't commit himself too soon and was still upright enough to get plenty behind it. Shearer trying to get free in the centre. Brave header by Staunton. Picked up there by Batty for Newcastle. Touch from Beardsley. Watson. Well, he's made space for himself. And then widened the angle, opted for the cross, and the show of enterprise leads to another Newcastle United corner. Beardsley, wanting to just toss it in, recognising that man-for-man Villa are the bigger side, even with Alan Wright in their lineup. Here's Clark. Oh! Well, we're dealing in millimetres here. Brushing the outside of the post. Deflected along the way. Albert. Corner count is rising. Gillespie with the corner, Peacock with a flick, and this by Johnson, a shot from Beardsley. Well, I don't know how much by surprise Bosnich was taken at the end, whether he expected the outfield players to deal with it. It was all a bit untidy, but the Jochin it was who pulled out right at the end, and that could have gone in on the bounce. And I think Terry McDermott and Arthur Cox would take the point and would have been in that frame of mind for some time. It is a corner. Well, we're very, very late into proceedings. Up comes Carl Tyler and Ugo Ehio. I'm sure Mark Bosnich would like to be in there as well, but he stayed back. Southgate. And Hislop had to catch it and had to catch it to avoid taking it out, but I think he's got the ball at the end, and that's appropriate because Shaka Hislop's penalty save from Dwight York spared Newcastle possible defeat here after they'd gone 2 goals up. But this was Newcastle United in a nutshell. Whoever is in charge of the team, they're so entertaining to watch, and Aston Villa have played a full part in it as well. A point for Newcastle in their first Premier League game without the influence and inspiration of Kevin Keegan. Aston Villa 2, Newcastle United 2. It was a very Keegan-esque game, though, wasn't it, even in his absence and his...
Yeah, I mean, if Kevin was watching it wherever he is in Europe, if he's in Europe, I believe it was beamed all around Europe, so there's a possibility he might have been in the bar somewhere watching it, and I'm sure he'd have been absolutely delighted the way the lads performed today.
Does it go through a player's mind at all that the manager has changed once you're out there and the job's at hand?
Once you're out on the pitch, once you cross that white line, there's no thought in your mind at all. Beforehand, whatever goes on in the press, all the speculation, etc. Obviously, some players believe it and read in the press. But as I said, we're professional footballers. We get paid off Newcastle United, not Kevin Keegan. We had to go out and do a job for Newcastle, and I think that's exactly what we've done.